sitting with fear then. And then the figure spoke. "Could I have a light, please?" I looked for my lighter in the car. There was no figure there at all. It disappeared. I was absolutely petrified. Had no time to walk away from the car, walk to the woods, or walk in front of the car. No way. I know what I seen. There was a figure there, and then there wasn't a figure there.
After alerting headquarters, Colin raced from Narworth. Still troubled by his experience and looking for answers, Dennis Simpson turned to local historian Robert French.
It was August the 30th, 1926. It was at 1:18 in the afternoon. The weather was clear. Everything was perfect. There was a charabanc, which was the early form of transport, early form of buses, was going on a pleasure trip, and it had to pass by Narworth Level Crossing. A new signalman had taken job 7 days earlier, a Mr. Oliver.
Yet, as the signalman opened the gate for the charabanc to cross the tracks, the trip turned to horror as a train sped towards it.
The train was doing about 50 miles an hour when the collision occurred. The incident was of obviously horrendous nature when 8 local people died.
Of the 8 killed, 4 members of the same family were among the dead. A Mrs. Campbell, her sister-in-law, and her 2 children. And one final chilling detail would offer no peace to Colin Metcalfe and Dennis Simpson.
This is the wood where they laid the bodies, just down there. And it still haunts me till this day.
I wouldn't like to go back again anyways. And I didn't go back from that night anyways. I totally refused to go back.
I know there were 2 children crying and they were ghosts.
Flintshire, northeast Wales. A land filled with dark and mysterious tales of spirits and hauntings finds perhaps its most chilling in the foreboding confines of a 17th century Jacobean mansion. Plas Teg.
Plas Teg was originally built in 1610 by Sir John Trevor, and Plas Teg means fair house, fair mansion. But I think you could look at the house's history over the centuries, and it's got anything but a fair history. It's dark, it's gruesome, it's full of bloodthirsty deeds and sorrowful events. You have to remember that when Plas Teg was built, we're living in the age of witchcraft, and there was a great battle going on between the forces of Christian religion and the much darker, older pagan beliefs. It's noticeable in this house that Sir John Trevor, as far as we know, had a witch sign carved on the fireplace in the Great Hall. And this was designed to prevent evil spirits from coming in down the chimney. Now, looking at the history of the house, clearly it was one of those symbols that really didn't work.
Yet, for one man, unaware of the house's history, the offer of lodging in Plas Teg with the mansion owner, while he did some work there, was one he found too tempting to resist.
Our family business at the time was accountancy, and we handled the books for Plas Teg. Within a couple of days of moving in, I just woke up in the middle of the night. was as if 20 or 30 people were stamping, thundering up and down on the floor above. It's just shock and great confusion. I mean, I knew there was just the two of us there in the house.
But within a matter of days, Mark would become convinced that it was not just he and the owner that walked the mansion. But now, it was not just Mark Ridgway who felt he was experiencing strange events. They were also reported on the road outside the mansion.
I worked the area around Plasteg Hall for about 15 years, and on a regular basis I used to get telephone calls and calls at the police station saying there was a woman walking along the dual carriageway near Plasteg. I found it strange that every time I went there I couldn't find anything. I recall one instance where a young lady reported having struck a pedestrian on the road outside Plasteg Hall, which resulted in the force sending out a helicopter and a search dog to look for a casualty.
The driver claimed that after she hit the woman pedestrian, she could see no sign of the victim. The police, with a helicopter team surveying the road and nearby fields, could also find no trace. Mark Ridgway was facing his last night in Plasteg.
It felt as if somebody's face was right in my face. It was there.
Mark left the mansion, never to return. But there were still reports of strange happenings on the road outside Plasteg. A number of cars had crashed coming off the dual carriageway, with no other vehicles involved.
It was about 10:30. I was on my way to Wrexham to meet a friend, and as I was driving, hit the brakes and skidded the car. It was like a thud, and I just sat there, absolutely petrified. Half of me wanted to get